Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chev Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriyet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the appearance of Sukadeva Goswami, text number 16 onwards. Punascha bhuyad bhagavati anante ratihi prasangash tadashveshu mahatsu yam upayami srishtim maitriyastu sarvatra namo dvijebhya. So King Parikshit is further telling all the sages who are there, again offering obeisances unto all you Brahmins, I pray that I should again take my birth in the material world. If I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. That a devotee of the Lord is the only perfect living being is explained herein by Maharaj Parikshit. A devotee of the Lord is no one's enemy, although there may be many enemies of a devotee. Means a devotee does not believe or does not think, does not take anybody as his enemy. A devotee of the Lord does not like to associate with non-devotees, although he the same feather mixed together. Haribol? So all he was asking is, I want to have association of other devotees, so that he can remember Krishna, he can think of Krishna in the association. And the most important function of a devotee is to have complete attachment for Lord Shri Krishna, the Father of all living beings. As a good son of the Father behaves in a friendly way with all his other brothers, so also the devotee of the Lord, being a good son of the Supreme Father, Lord Krishna, sees all of the living beings in relation with the Supreme Father. He tries to bring back the upstart sons of the Father to a saner stage and to get them to accept the Supreme Fatherhood of God. Maharaj Parikshit was certainly going back to Godhead, but even if he were not to go back, he prayed for a pattern of life, which is the most perfect way in the material world. A pure devotee does not desire the company of a personality as great as Brahma, but he prefers the association of a petty living being, provided he is a devotee of the Lord. So this was his desire, that if he had to take birth again, he's saying. So he had only three desires: complete attachment to Krishna, association of devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. Means no enmity from anybody. But the association of devotees, this is the most important thing that he has to know. Because in the association of devotees only he can have complete attachment to Krishna. And the consciousness will be so fixed up. Just like in Bhagavatam only, later on we will study Prahlad Maharaj, when he was going to Gurukul, and since his father was a big demon, his teachers were also trying to teach him all the material sciences, material knowledge. And he basically didn't learn anything there in the Gurukul. Why? Because he thought, because whatever material knowledge I gain, it will make me think somebody is my friend and somebody is my enemy. Anybody who 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 puts an obstacle in my sense gratification basically becomes my enemy. And anybody who helps me in my sense gratification is my friend. This is a basic definition of friends and enemy. But Prahlad Maharaj said, I cannot see anybody as my enemy. I don't see as an enemy. And why we see somebody as an enemy? Because of this sense gratification. But why sense gratification? Because sense gratification is the only object of body. Goal of life of the body is to enjoy the senses. And the devotee is beyond this bodily concept of life. So he cannot think of anybody as enemy. See the level of devotee. We all like to call ourselves devotees. And people like to call others, everybody, as, oh, you are a pure devotee, you are a pure devotee. Where do we stand? This is a symptom, this is a characteristic of a pure devotee. We are so much in the bodily concept of life. And okay, just because we have put on dhoti kurta, put a nice tilak, nice kanthi mala, and chanting and giving lectures on Bhagavatam doesn't mean we have become devotees. We are trying to be. We are struggling to be a devotee. Of course, it's a very lofty goal actually, to be a devotee. But yes, it's a aim, it's a goal, and hopefully in few lifetimes we would be able to achieve it, if not more. But we have to keep going. So this is the level, this is the characteristic of a devotee what Parikshit Maharaj is showing. No enmity. Nobody become my enemy, or I don't consider anybody as my enemy. That can only happen when we are not in the body concept of life. Text 17. Iti sma raja dhyavsaya yuktaha prachin muleshu kusheshu dhira udanga mukho dakshin kula aste samudra patnya swatanyastabhara. In perfect self-control, Maharaj Parikshit sat down on a seat of straw, with straw roots facing the east, placed on the southern bank of the Ganges, and he himself faced the north. Just previously, he had given charge of his kingdom over to his son. The river Ganges is celebrated as the wife of the sea. The seat of Kusha's straw is considered to be sanctified if the straw is taken out of the earth, complete with root. And if the root is pointed towards the east, it is considered to be administration son before leaving home. He was thus fully equipped for all favorable conditions. So he adopted some methods like Kushagra's, the straw roots facing east, and he sat down facing north, and that means he was perfectly ready. He was ready for self-realization, or to have everything auspicious in his life. But see, that was the because that is beginning of Kali Yuga, or close to Dwapar Yuga, to the end of Dwapar Yuga, where all these rules and regulations were still observed. In Kali Yuga, now these rules and regulations nobody can observe. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is his mercy. Then he said, okay, niyamita smarane nakana, chanting of the holy names. There's no rules and regulations of any time, place, circumstance. Just chant. That's all we have to do. Just imagine if we have to get this kusha grass with pulled out with the roots, and the roots we have to place facing east, and we sit down facing north. This will be so complicated. The other members of the family will say, "Kya drama ho rahe hain? What is this nonsense going on?" So, so all we have to do, just sit down any place. East, west, north, south, doesn't matter whether we're sitting on bed or on sofa or on the floor, doesn't matter. Just chant. That's all we have to do. See, this is Mahaprabhu's mercy. He has made it so simple, so convenient for all of us. Text 18. Evam cha tasmin nar deva deve prayopavishte divideva sangha prashasya bhumo vyakiran prasuner muda muhurdundu bhyaschanedu. Thus the king Maharaj Parikshit sat to fast until death. All the demigods of the higher planets praised the king's actions and in pleasure continually scattered flowers over the earth and beat celestial drums. So all the demigods have also gathered in the sky, and they're very pleased with the king's decision. Even up to the time of Maharaj Parikshit, there were interplanetary communications, and the news of Maharaj Parikshit's fasting unto death to attain salvation reached the higher planets in the sky where the intelligent demigods live. The demigods are more luxurious than human beings, but all of them are obedient to the orders of the Supreme Lord. There is no one in the heavenly planets who is an atheist or non-believer. So this tendency is only on earth, where they don't believe in Krishna's presence or God's existence. Thus, any devotee of the Lord on the surface of the earth is always praised by them. And in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, they were greatly delighted and thus gave tokens of honor by scattering flowers over the earth and by beating celestial drums. A demigod takes pleasure in seeing someone go back to Godhead. Demigods takes pleasure in seeing someone go back to Godhead. He is always pleased with the devotee of the Lord, so much so that by his adhidevic powers, he may help the devotee in all respects. And of course, many times they try to test the devotee also, how ready he is. So that's a different capacity for them. And by their actions, the Lord is pleased with them. There is an invisible chain of complete cooperation between the Lord, the demigods, and the devotee of the Lord on earth. So there is a complete chain, invisible chain of complete cooperation. And this is what Bhagavad Gita also says. No, and Krishna produced in the beginning of creation. Krishna sent all these yajna processes for us to follow. So by doing the yajna, the demigods are pleased, and when they are pleased, they supply all the ingredients that we need for our proper living, comfortable living. So the doing the yajna is basically this is what Krishna wants, and only devotees can do that. Priya Mataji, your phone is getting on again and again. Please turn it off. So the demigods, because they are also servants of the Lord, when they see somebody is becoming a servant or taking up the position of service, then they get pleased also. It's pleased so that they can cooperate, they can help. But at the same time, they have to do some testing also, especially Maya. She has to test to make sure that we are really ready, that we are not faking it. Asha Mataji, your mic is on. Please turn it off. Text 19. Maharsho ve samupagata ye prashasya satitya anumodamana uchu prajanugrahashil sara yaduttam shlokuna bhirupam. All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaj Parikshit, and they expressed their approval by saying, "Very good." Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to common men, for they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very much pleased to see Maharaj Parikshit, the devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows. So the sages were also pleased with this decision. I guess only people who don't like, of course, this is their attachment because their natural attachment. If somebody is fasting, then his parents or his family member, they don't like it. Don't fast. Why you have to fast? Khale, kuch to khale. See, but the sages are happy, demigods are happy. He is fasting and he is trying for salvation. But the relatives they say भूखे रहने से थोड़ी कोई मिलता मोक्ष थोड़ी मिलता है and they say भूखे पेट न भजन होई गोपाला and all these comments will come, but this is this is their viewpoints. We cannot say anything to them also. The natural beauty of a living being is enhanced by rising up to the platform of devotional service. Maharaj Parikshit was absorbed in attachment for Lord Krishna. Seeing this, the great sages assembled were very pleased, and they expressed their approval by saying, "Very good." Such sages are naturally inclined to do good to the common man. And when they see a personality like Maharaj Parikshit advance in devotion service, their pleasure knows no bounds, and they offer all blessings in their power. The devotional service of the Lord is so auspicious that all demigods and sages, up to the Lord Himself, became pleased with the devotee, and therefore the devotee finds everything auspicious. All inauspicious matters are removed from the path of a progressive devotee. Meeting all the great sages at the time of death was certainly auspicious for Maharaj Parikshit, and thus he was blessed by the so-called curse of a Brahman's boy. So Prabhupada says so-called curse, because this curse of a Brahman's boy became actually a blessing for Maharaj Parikshit, that he got this assembly of great sages and he can prepare for his going back home, back to Godhead. So it was not a curse, it was a blessing. So we also have to see if some unfavorable, so-called unfavorable situation happens in a life, maybe it's a blessing. Of course, at that time, since we are not that qualified, or we cannot see the future, we cannot really see Krishna's hand everywhere, we might think, oh, why all these things are happening to me? But if we look back later on, we'll see it was the best thing that happened at that time. So nothing is a curse in a devotee's life, it's all blessings. Text 20. Na vaidam rajarshirvarya chitram bhavatsu krishnam samanovriteshu ye adhyasanam rajkirita jushtam sadyo jahur bhagvat parshva kamaha. The sages said, O chief of all the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty who are strictly in the line of Lord Shri Krishna, it's not at all astonishing that you give up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead. So the sage is saying you gave up the throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, means you got that throne Of course, Maharaj Parikshit didn't have to fight, but Pandavas had to fight with so many uh, kings to defeat them, especially the war of Mahabharata. Means they got this throne by defeating so many kings. So that means which is decorated with the helmets of many kings. And they're saying, sages saying, oh, Maharaj Parikshit, you just gave up everything so easily to achieve the eternal association with the personality of Godhead. That is most important. Because even if you had sat on the throne all your life, still it won't be eternal. It will be still be temporary. You can only sit on the throne for a few years. That's it. Foolish politicians who hold political administrative posts think that the temporary posts they occupy are the highest material gain of life. And therefore, they stick to those posts even up to the last moment of life, without knowing that achievement of liberation as one of the associates of the Lord in his eternal abode is the highest gain of life. The human life is meant for achieving this end. The Lord has assured us in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead, his eternal abode, is the highest achievement. Prahlad Maharaj, while praying to the Lord, praying to Lord Narasimha, said, "Oh my Lord, I am very much afraid of the materialistic way of life, and I am not the least afraid of your present ghastly, ferocious nature feature as Narasimha Dev. This materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it. We have fallen into this horrible whirlpool of the tossing waves of life, and thus, my Lord, I pray at your lotus feet to call me back to your eternal abode as one of your servitors. This is the summit liberation of this materialistic way of life. I have very bitter experience of the materialistic way of life. In whichever species of life I have taken birth, compelled by the force of my own activities, I have very painfully experienced two things, namely, separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. And to counteract them, the remedies which I undertook were more dangerous than the disease itself. So I drift from one point to another, birth after birth, and pray to you, therefore, to give me a shelter at your lotus feet. So the materialistic way of life Prahlad Maharaj is talking about is basically eat, drink, and try to be merry. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. This is all we do. In every species of life, everybody is busy doing that. Everybody is running around, trying to make money, trying to gather so many things: name, power, position, prestige, money, just for these four activities: eating, sleeping, having sex, and defending oneself. This is all. And Prahlad Maharaj, how he explains that this way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it. Means it is killing us. Means kill. Of course, the soul cannot be killed in a way, but it's keeping the soul away from Krishna, because we think this is our aim of life, goal of life is this only, and this keeps one away from Krishna, and we are being crushed by it. Means we are really suffering, but still we don't want to give it up because we don't know what is, or most of the people, they don't know what's the alternate, what's the best goal of life, what is the real goal of life. Since they don't know, they think, oh, just living like that, this is it. This is sansar, this is the only thing we have to do. But actually it's not. And Prahlad Maharaj is, of course, he is a pure devotee, but he is speaking on our behalf. He's saying, I am very much afraid of it. I don't want to get back into it. So please give me shelter of your lotus feet. The Pandav kings, who were more than many saints of the world, knew the bitter results of the materialistic way of life. They were never captivated by the glare of the imperial throne they occupied, and they sought always the opportunity of being called by the Lord to associate with him eternally. Maharaj Parikshit was the worthy grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Maharaj Yudhishthir gave up the imperial throne to his grandson, and similarly, Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir, gave up the imperial throne to his son Janmejaya. That's the way of all the kings in the dynasty because they were strictly in the line of Lord Krishna. Thus, the devotees of the Lord are never enchanted by the glares of materialistic life, and they live impartially, unattached to the objects of false, illusory, materialistic way of life. So this is another quality of devotees because they are so much attached to the service of Krishna that they never get enchanted by the glares of materialistic life. They might live in that life, but they never get enchanted. They never get attracted to it. The only attraction is service of Krishna or service of his devotees. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one question from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, Shlok 12. Lord Krishna
Okay.
says, I'll just read the Shlok first. It's Ishtan Bhogi Vadeva Dashyante Yagya Bhavitah Tedartan Pradayobhya Yo Bhukte Stena Evasa.
Mhm.
So, Lord Krishna says to Arjun that in this materialistic world, uh, we do everything for our uh, I mean, provoked by the selfishness, or we do every act because of selfishness for ourselves, right? But he has given a lot of examples like mother milk is for the kid and it's not for the mother, and anything which we have got or received from this world uh, is beat anything, this body or even like if we see our parents, they had given birth to us, they had brought us everything they've done for us. So everything what we have today is from this world only. So if somebody, there's a Hindi meaning called sanchay. So if saves or for their own protection or for like money, car, uh, house or anything, then he becomes a thief. Is not what he has taken as per him. Uh, Whatever he has taken from this world, it's for this world only, it's for the people. So give it, and when we start giving it, we will be in a more spiritual state, we will attain that spiritual state. uh, Other way around, if we'll just save it, then we will be in a anxiety mode always, we will be in dilemmas, we'll be in attachment with this material world. So Prabhuji, on a daily basis, my question here is, on a daily basis we do these transactions, how to detach ourselves, because this would be a question that if we aren't giving also to people on a daily basis, we are also doing something for us, right? So we always in a confusion that some way or the other we are attached to the material world. So can you just
Okay.
clear this doubt?
First of all, when we talk about giving to whom? To the people, to the world, to demigods, to Krishna, to whom? Actually, the real owner is Krishna of everything. We are not. I'm just going to mute you so that your background voice doesn't disturb everybody. Whenever you want to interrupt, you can please unmute yourself. So, giving is for Krishna. Here, Prabhupada is translating the same verse that you read. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So, to the demigods as a yajna, because a real yajna bhukta or the enjoyer of yajna is Krishna. Demigod just become a mean for the sacrifice. So now how to give back? It's not like you make money and you give back everything. Of course, if you can, that will be the greatest thing to do. But over and over we read, Prabhupada has written and Rupa Goswami has quoted from scriptures, if one gives 50% of his income in service of the Lord. But even after that, even if that is not practical, I mean, giving 50% of hard-earned cash, but if we live our life as a servant of Krishna, means if our house is dedicated to serving Krishna, Krishna's deity is there and we are making bhoga for him and we are keeping Krishna in the center of all our activities. And if we are engaging whatever we can in the propagation of name of Krishna, propagation of teachings of Krishna, so that means our whole income is in the service of Krishna. Even if we have to maintain our body, of course, that is very much required. Without having a proper body, you cannot even serve Krishna. We cannot even make money to serve Krishna in that way also. So we have to maintain our body. We need a nice, comfortable house, if not very luxurious house, depending upon our income, comfortable house, comfortable living, so we can serve properly. So there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's all a matter of consciousness, more than a matter of physically giving. There could be many people physically giving, but the consciousness is different. So that consciousness is what we have to improve. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Any other question or comment? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have heard in lectures that demigods sends obstacles in life of devotee because they fear they might take their position. But you have also said they help also when they see.
Well,
They
Prabhupada wrote in the purport that they help, they cooperate with the devotees. Demigods is only Indradev sometimes he gets afraid because he has a different position to look after. And his getting afraid is also in the sense, see, a devotee is never after Indradev's position either. He's never after that. So Indradev wants to make sure that he is not a materialistic devotee. You know, devotees can be material, like karma mishrit bhakti. So this is not. So this is what we have to. They also try to make sure. So if somebody is gone to do tapasya, so they want to make sure he is doing tapasya for the right purpose, right cause. Is it okay?
help also, or they help indirectly by testing us.
Yeah, and also they can help by providing whatever we need for a service, because they are, after all, they are also servants of Krishna. So they also want to help other servants of Krishna. Of course, sometimes, like in Krishna Leela, Indra and Brahmaji, Varun, they all did some things that ultimately it was ended up as service to Krishna, but it didn't sound like when they started it. Is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, brother. Okay, thank you all very much. All have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Jai
Krishna,
Shri Ram.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Prabhuji, I
Yes,
have a
yes,
question.
yes.
I have a question, Prabhuji.
Okay, ask.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I wanted to know, like we are learning about in the Bhagavad Gita class of office, we are learning the Sattvic, Guna, Rajasic and Tamasic. So I had a question from that, like how can we improve like on gunas? I mean, by mercy, obviously Krishna's mercy we will get that thing, but how as a person can we improve ourselves to a level upper? I mean, if you can please share.
Well, by following these processes that Prabhupada has given, chanting, association, reading, service, prashadam, trying to eat only prashadam. Okay, if not 100%, at least 90%, 80%, 70%. So more we stay in things or people in higher modes of nature, we'll also tend to come to that level. Prashadam really makes a big difference. And also we all have a tendency to listen to nice music. So instead of listening to the movie songs, which are all in mode of ignorance or passion, we can listen to so many now. There are so many Hare Krishna tunes on YouTube. You can anytime just put them on, or you can take MP3 files. You can listen to Hare Krishna, or other bhajans and kirtans are there, or kathas are there. So
Prabhuji,
there are many ways. Yes, Prabhu.
I shared online bhajans to everyone.
Yeah, so that's the best thing to do. These horrible music songs, they keep on changing because we get bored from all the old ones. But the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is still the same. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sang it 500 years ago. Still the same Mahamantra. We all are singing. It's ever new, ever fresh. So if we keep on ourselves doing all these activities, so definitely slowly, Cheto Darpan Marjan will happen. Even from very beginning, it starts happening, and if we keep on doing more and more, if we do, and more and more margin will happen. Cleansing will take place, means we will come at least to the mode of goodness, if not beyond. And then we all have to take a balance sheet of our day-to-day activities at night. What did I do? Where did I not act properly or do things properly? So next time we will be more careful.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you, Anta. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Ram, Prabhuji.